Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Women. On this show, you will learn how to create wealth through real estate the blissful way. That means with very little stress and very little time. We talk about strategies, mindset, heart set, money smarts, resources, and so much more to ensure you're able to create the success you most deeply desire. Now, here's your host, Moneeka Sawyer.
Today, I am so delighted to welcome back to the show my friend Lisa Winston. Lisa is a gifted vocalist, #1 international bestselling author of Your Turning Point, TV host, intuitive mindset strategist, and inspirational speaker. A life of extreme challenges, including losing her home to wildfires, breast cancer, and Lyme disease, made her hungry for a deeper connection to Source and determined to find her true calling. Today, she shares the message that life is always happening for you, and challenges are sent to refine you, not define you. Lisa has produced many influential global summits and is also featured on online summits, national radio, podcasts, and trainings. She co-hosts and produces the Mindset Reset TV show, a weekly series which reaches millions worldwide. Lisa is so grateful to be mom to her beautiful daughter, Sarah, and to live, teach, and speak across the globe with her soulmate, life partner, and love, Dr. Joe Vitale. Hey there, Lisa. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh my gosh, beautiful Monika. I am so excited to be. It has been so long since I've talked to you or seen you or anything. Yeah. I am really, really, really excited to be here. Thank you. Me too.
Yeah. You know, when you did your show, your episode on my show, was it 2 years ago? It's been a while. People loved it. And I keep thinking I want to bring you back on, but it just, both of us have had stuff. So here we are. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Woohoo. Let's do it.
So it's so funny. Like, as we were emailing back and forth, you're like, I kind of want to talk about this thing that's really juicing me right now. And I was like, what was it? And what you sent me is ARP, Kiss My, Life Begins at 60. And I'm so in. So let's talk about that. I know you've been through a lot. So let's just start with your story about kind of how you came to this,
I don't even know where to start when people ask me this. So much, where should I start from? I mean, the big story was that I had a lot of life challenges, extreme life challenges. And when about 54, about 8 years ago, I decided I got an intuitive hit to leave a 15-year toxic relationship. That was after the wildfire, the breast cancer, and all that. And I was just burnt out. I was miserable. I just hated my life. And I really literally started reading more Eckhart Tolle and stuff like that, and doing a lot of Qigong and getting into my spirituality. So anyway, I picked up my daughter, picked up all my stuff, left in search of my life's mission, my journey, and I moved forward. And then the next 8 years I spent building my coaching business, and lots of ups and downs there. Some other
coaching's easy, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was like just this crazy ride, but I was all in because, it's like when you get that open door, or you get that hit to go do something, you just follow it even when you don't know where it's going and it makes no sense. So let's just bring everybody up to speed. 2 years ago, I ended up with the love of my life, Dr. Joe Vitale, and that was all through synchronicity and intuitive hits and guides for both of us. And took care of my dying mother before that. Then I came to Texas to relocate to be with him, and we started traveling. And back in 2019, I fell ill to Lyme disease, and that has been a 2-year battle. I almost died. I couldn't see to drive for 6 months. Joe was my total supporter, and he was amazing. One of the hardest challenges of my life. But I have to tell you, so many things have come from that. It's just, I've just become such a different person. With each challenge, you either let it refine you or define you. That's my big deal, that life challenges happen for us, not to us. And it's hard to see that sometimes, but I really do see it because, like I told you just recently, I really finally got to that one thing that I've been looking for. I've been doing things I enjoy, but that one thing, that everybody talks about that nobody can get to. And so at the age of 62 now, I'm on fire.
You're with Mr. Fire and you're on fire.
I'm with Mr. Fire. I'm on fire.
There's all this fire going on.
I know. So that was kind of a long, short roundabout way. There's just so much. I just, we don't need to focus there, but hey.
Yeah. I do love this story about your mom, and I know you don't want to go back, but for me, it feels really relevant. And let me tell you why. You and I are kind of in this sandwich generation right now,
right.
where we've got our elderly parents and we've got our children going to college, right? And there are a lot of listeners to this show that are in that generation, and we're making really tough decisions about what life is going to look like. Could you share with us, is that okay that I ask that?
Absolutely.
To share about this journey with your mom?
Yeah. Oh God. Every time somebody brings it up, I get emotional. It's only been 3 years and I really miss her a lot still, but I was so blessed because I was actually, the funny thing is that I was building my coaching business. I was having trouble several years ago. I got to this point where I wasn't sure I was on the right track. I wasn't enjoying what I was doing. I was living in an arrangement where it was not pleasant. And I was ready to get a job as an Uber driver because I'm just I don't know what to do. Right. So I literally put in the paperwork and I got this, and I had been back for my 40th year reunion. So I saw my mom then. I think it was November of that year, 2017. And all of a sudden I had this weird intuitive hit. I just got this knowing that I was supposed to pack up and go be with my mom. And I was like, well, that's weird. I was just with my mom. What's the deal? I got to leave my roommate. What's she going to say? Well, at dinner the next night, I told her and she said, no, I got that hit for you too. So that was a confirmation that there was something going on. So I packed up my stuff in San Diego, put it all in storage, drove from California to Pennsylvania, halfway across the country. I got a call from my sister, Lisa. Mom has been diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. She's dying. The universe knew. I didn't know. Mm-hmm. This is the importance of following your inner guidance when you get it, even when it doesn't make any sense. And so I spent from February 1st through August taking care of my mother till she passed away from breast cancer, caring for her every day, bathing her, cooking for her, taking her to appointments, and even the final moments kind of care, and then closing the estate. And then after that is when I relocated to Texas. But what a bittersweet time. Obviously, I didn't want her to go, but we had so many beautiful moments together. I'd be in bed with her. We'd be singing together or crying together, or just, I was going to lose my mom. And It's funny because no matter how angry you are at your parents, when they're dying, you realize you've been really stupid. You're not going to see them again, at least not here on the physical plane, and that you need to be grateful for them and treat them with love and respect. So it was a pretty amazing journey, and I'm grateful that I got the opportunity to take it.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I was actually just at a mastermind, and we talk about all of those things that affect our businesses. Everybody in this mastermind is multimillionaire. I'm a tiny little baby in this group, and I am so grateful to have the opportunity to hang out with these people. But it was so interesting that when you get to be really wealthy, there's some things that you realize. First of all, your wealth means nothing unless you do good with it.
Right.
Having fun and buying stuff does not fill us up, right?
Yes.
Doing good with our money does, but our life affects our business. And so a lot of the things that come up are these personal things. And one of the guys had just had to put his dad into a nursing facility. And he says, it feels like there's nothing I can do that's right. But he's so filled with love, but he's got to run a business he's got kids in college, he still has to live life. So he didn't get the opportunity to kind of do what you got to do, which is such a gift. But we don't all get that. And what I really want the ladies to hear is that I get this for you. We know this is hard. And it feels like no matter what we do, it's not right. And the thing that I told him, very simple piece of advice, because I didn't have a lot else to offer, was just focus on what you're doing right, not what's going on right. My dad's getting really good care. My business is going really well. Don't focus on that. Focus on, I love my dad enough that I've put him in this place where he can get the care that he needs. I visit him every day if that's what he's doing. We have a rotation. People bring him food. focus on all the things that you personally are doing right in this situation.
Absolutely.
Do you agree with me on that?
Oh yeah, I think you have to focus, well, day by day, you have to be grateful for every moment, every little
Yeah.
thing that happens. And that's true for life or, any part of our life,
Mhm.
especially with our parents when they're passing. I mean, I remember when my mother passed away and my dad had passed away in 2011. And my sister and I were standing in front of the house getting ready to sell it, holding each other in the street, and we felt like we were orphans.
Yeah.
So we really need to embrace each moment, focus on what is going right, what's good, and focus on the love, because that is everything. There is not, when you feel that love for your parent or a sibling or whoever's going through whatever it is, nothing matters. I mean, you're talking about money, but money pales. There's like, it doesn't matter if you're
Mhm.
not healthy or if you're in the middle of something devastating like that. The last thing you're thinking about is money.
Yeah.
And so I am in a 100% agreement with it. Plus, it also helps you to, just rise above things. I remember I was so in that moment when I was with my mother, I was really in this miracle space of love, just pure love. And I
Mhm.
was there for her. And I was just feeling the universe every day. I'd be in tears. I just was feeling, it was bittersweet because we had some family issues, which always happens when you get together with family, especially
Mhm.
around death. But when you really stay immersed in the love, it's like heaven on earth. Like there were days I didn't want to move from this feeling that I had because I had never felt that intense love before. And so it really opens up opportunities to connect with the divine and really just, amp up your love energy, and things come from that, by the way, down the road that unbeknownst to you. So love is the highest vibration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much. And thank you for telling the story. I know you didn't want to talk about it, but I
No, it's
appreciate
okay.
it.
It's okay. It's hard, but I mean, I love it because when I think about it, it was a beautiful experience. It's just so daggone hard when you lose your parents.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no getting over it.
Yeah. I'm with you. Okay. Well, not cool, but you know what I mean.
I,
We can move on. Okay. So now what do we do? Okay.
that's what I love about you.
Okay,
Oh,
good. So now let's talk a little bit about sort of that resiliency. So that was a path
mhm.
that started there, wouldn't you say?
Well, I think it started way before that with me.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
With
yeah. But
one challenge after the other, right? And I mean,
right.
in truth, if we sit around and want to be stronger or courageous and we never take action to do anything, we don't grow. We just don't. And so we have to really just throw ourselves into the fire, basically, and
Mhm.
say, hey, I don't know how to handle this. I don't know what I'm going to do. But in that process, that's that refining process. And it's really true. I don't have any other word about, that. It's like kind of when I had breast cancer. I didn't want that to define me, right? I didn't
Right.
want that people are like, go teach, or go talk to people about breast cancer or go on the breast cancer walks with the t-shirt. I'm like, no, I don't want to be in the vibration of that, but I want to allow that experience to uplift me and refine me. And I'm just somebody who had that experience. It doesn't have to be something that's mine. I'm not going to own it. So yeah, I'm having a senior moment.
No worries. So we're talking about resiliency. So
Yes.
and the thing is this. So I define bliss
Yes.
as a deep sense of joy and contentment
Yeah.
and the confidence that you can handle anything that comes your way. So for me, bliss is really about emotional mastery and emotional resilience. Without that, we can't live in that place of
Right.
bliss,
Right.
right? So that's why I'm so interested in sort of your perspective on resiliency
Mhm.
and how kind of talking about this whole thing about creativity, intuition really leads to that resiliency, right?
Yeah, and I love the conversation only because I kind of knew it all along, but you know how we're always in our head when we're building our businesses and we're trying to monetize everything. We're kind of like, I'm a creative, so I really don't have that other side of my brain. So it's always a struggle for me to do that. I'd rather just create.
Mhm.
But we really do open up when we are creative in any respect. When I talk about creativity, a lot of people are afraid. Well, they're like, I'm not an artist. I don't know how to do art. I don't know how to sing. I don't. Well, do you remember when you were a child and you were 3 years old and you were dancing around and playing in the sandbox with your, pants down and in the swimming pool eating popsicles with no top on, right?
Uh,
And you're just having fun. You're running around. You're doing all kinds of crazy things. You're dancing. You're singing. You're just random because you're just in joy with life. You're in love with life. And I know that sounds stupid, but it's not. We have this inner child that we need to connect to because we're these stuffy adults. And so for me, as much as I love to laugh, I've become a stuffy adult over the years. Just a controlling, stuffy adult. And so when I found the watercolor, I had been doing for about 20 years, but it wasn't turning me on anymore. And when I had this synchronistic hit with this other medium and I started doing it, I went nuts. Like I went out and bought a whole lot of supplies, learning everything. And I had this knowing, that I was in the right direction. I didn't know where it was going to go or how it was going to happen, right? I'm just allowing the universe to bring it to me, however. And I don't know. I feel like my resiliency has just grown by leaps and bounds, because it was almost like we can't have certain situations happen for us until we're actually at a certain point to be able to handle it or accept it or contain it, or embrace it, whatever it is that we're looking at. So it's really great to say yes to life challenges, whatever they are, no matter how bad they hurt. Just know that your heart can take it and you become very courageous. You become wise. There's so much that goes on and so much wisdom that you get and insight you get from these challenges. And then, that's another piece of your life. And then you move forward and something else happens for you and things start to open up from there. So being in your flow it's just there, in your joy, in your passion, in your love. What do you love to do? It's everything: money, health, relationships, everything you can imagine.
Yeah. It's interesting because at this mastermind, one of the things that one of the speakers talked about was, the square dancing lawyer, like she's got this work that, she's done for so many years. It's kind of gotten to boring and stale, but she loves it because it's paying for the college educations of her kids and what it does for her life. But it doesn't juice her anymore. And a lot of times our careers don't end up juicing us, right?
Right.
But we all have something else. And what we do is we end up putting in 80 hours a week for our work because we know that's paying for life.
Right.
And we forget that we're human. And that as humans, we have that creative element. No matter how creative you think you're not, you have that creative element, right? And so it was, her business stagnated, the finances stagnated until she started taking 2 nights off a week to go do square dancing, right?
Yeah,
and it's true. Like we have that side of us, and we always have had that side of us. We don't have to be good. This is the other thing. You don't have to make it into a profession. You don't have to make it into your full-time thing. You don't even have to be good, but you have to express who you are in some way other than what you're doing in your work. And, like for me, so much of my creative expression is doing these shows, right? Like it's very creative. There's a lot going on. I love talking to people. Still, I have to dance every day or I'm not myself. I'm not as creative. The conversations are not as good. The people that I attract to the show are not as exciting, right? Like, and I've made decisions, and this, I've made decisions because of what I thought I should do.
Right.
Rather than what my intuition told me I should be doing, or I would be best for me, right? So if I had been at the time, I will just tell you this, Lisa, nobody knows this. At the time the time that I made that decision, that I went to New Media Summit, right?
Yes.
2 months before, I had gotten in a serious car accident in a highway pileup. That's what I just settled 2 days, this last week. It's been 4 years. When I went there, I was in so much pain. I couldn't dance. There was no creative expression. All there was me trying to survive. And when you're in that mode, bad decisions happen. And we kind of know, you and I kind of know what happened. So it's been interesting. Like as I started to bring dance back into my life, suddenly the show got better. My everything that I did just got better. My life got better. I feel happier, right? So I didn't mean to steal the show, but seriously, it's like creativity is so important because it just opens us up to the next piece, which is intuition, and to all of that joy, and full experience of life, right?
I think the big piece is that we try to control everything. And after I lost my house to wildfire, I have this big plaque up on my wall. I still have it. It says, "Let go." Well, it's like, how many situations have I had since then? And I'm still working on letting go. We have trouble letting go. And when you let go, you can always let go a lot more. Even when you think you're not holding on, you're still holding on. So I feel like creativity, if we really allow ourselves to throw, even when I start my painting, I was still trying to control it. That's what, like with watercolor, I was, you do this. But with what I'm doing now, you kind of just let the colors, you do different techniques, but you allow things to flow and you have no control over the way that it looks for the most part, the outcome. And so I think the biggest thing for adults is to let go, stay out of the way, stay out of control. This is the part of trusting and allowing. And that's what opens us up. If we're always pushing against, right? We can't get where we want to go. So I think that's the biggest piece when you're dancing, especially. Dancing is just like, what, you're just all over the place. You're just carefree like a child. And a lot of people still don't get that concept. I dance and I feel awkward. Well,
and that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've done such really random things, like walking around the house talking to myself or looking in the mirror, making stupid faces and funny sounds. And then I think, oh my God, there's something like wrong with me. And I thought, no, we're like these childlike spirits and we are meant to be, experiment and be goofy and play around. We've just lost that capability somewhere along the line. So look stupid when you dance. Nobody's watching,
right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, I look stupid when I dance. I don't care.
Still dance, right?
Care?
So, that's awesome. So talk to me a little bit about, I know that all of this, like the painting and all this stuff has now opened you up. And I want to hear the attracting your house story. Could you share that with us? I'm so excited. I'm like waiting. Like, tell me what's happened.
The crazy thing is that if I can tell the story briefly, Joe's going through his divorce.
Of course.
He had his house. We spent 4 months packing up his estate. And we were living in a leased house. And so our plan was, well, it's during COVID, we kind of want to move out of state, but we're not really sure what's going to happen. So we were going to stay in the leased house for a while so we could just let things open up and see what happened. Well, we come back after packing up the estate and the guy who owns the house says, oops, you got to move in a month and a half, 6 weeks, because I'm selling the house.
Oh dear.
Monkey wrench. This is life, right? Life throws us bombs and curveballs. That's what it does. So, well, you can get mad all you want. I mean, at first we were incredibly annoyed and I was exhausted from packing up an entire house and, 600 boxes of books and all that other stuff. So we just said, okay, what can we do next? And so we drove to Austin several days. We thought, well, we'll just look in Austin. Well, the market there was going crazy, as you know. I mean, 8 people lined up to buy and, 100,000 over the selling price or whatever, just craziness. And it would take us 7 hours a day to get there and get back to just see like 4 houses. So after that, we were exhausted. So then we just started looking here in the area we're in. We looked at one house, put an offer on it, loved it. And it was funny because I had told you before we started talking, Joe was trying all these different things to make it happen. And because he was in the middle of the divorce, it was kind of difficult, but he was trying to make it happen anyway. And we kind of just put our it's like you get your hopes up, right, to get something, but you also have to be a little bit open. So we went and just decided to look at a couple of other houses. And initially it was like, after seeing the one you really want, the rest kind of look like dogs, right? So it's like, yeah, no.
Not cute dogs.
Not cute dogs. No, it's like, oh God, okay. And so it was funny because when things weren't really working out, I just had this hit. I was like, well, let's just go back and look at a couple of these houses again. So we came back and we looked at this one and I started seeing possibility. Like out of the blue, I walked in and I was like, when I walked in here the first time, I really didn't even look at it. And now I'm seeing possibility. It wasn't everything that we wanted. It wasn't exactly perfect, but there was possibility there. It was one of the nicer ones that we saw. And then we left and I'm like, we better, like, if this doesn't go through, we better get it. Like it's going to be off the market. Well, it was really strange because the way that it happened, it was very synchronistic. I think one day we were looking at other houses and this one just like popped up. And then somebody told us about that. And then my sister texted me. She goes, what about that one that you were looking at? It was just all very random information. So it was almost like this giant confirmation from the universe. Go look at that house, And so unbeknownst to us, the other one, did fall through. Initially, we didn't know what was happening. It took a while. And we came back and this house, sure enough, was still on the market. And we found that it had been on the market for a year and there was no reason for it to be on the market for a year. So the whole thing is that we attracted this house. We believe that this house was sitting here waiting for us. That's what we believe, because the way it happened, it was kind of like this random house sitting in the middle of a grassy lot, and it was putting out, feelers and information for us. And randomly we came to it and then we left it. And then it just kind of kept popping back in. And so that's where we ended up moving to. And it was really amazing because, if we just keep our eyes open and we, just surrender and say, okay, where do you want me to go? Look at the possibilities. Then, and then watch for the synchronicities, watch for those intuitive hits, as you and I talk about, because that's how we live our lives.
Right.
You will get led to the right place. And if you're at the wrong place, you'll know it.
Right.
And even if you don't believe that place was the wrong place, like the first place, I guarantee you, as a matter of fact, somebody was telling us about, it was along the waterway in the lake. And there were a lot of trees at the bottom. And somebody told us about water moccasins or some some snakes here in Texas that actually live in the trees. They plant their eggs in the mud. And if you rustle the trees, they will fall on you.
Oh, dear.
They're really aggressive. And I started thinking about all the things in Texas that actually could have happened in that other house. And I thought, something wasn't right. So you got to trust your gut, trust what you get, play the game.
Watch for the signs.
Watch for the signs.
And more than anything, right? You have to take action based on what you get.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Instead of being in your head and stuck on something else, because a lot of times we think we want something, but we have no idea what we really want or what's really good for us.
Right. It's so true.
Yeah. So it was a pretty cool house hunting experience. And we did that in less than 6 weeks. We found a house in almost like a month, really.
Wow.
And then had to move out and move into another one. So it all happened very quickly, but it was divinely guided. We were divinely guided, and it was amazing. Yeah.
Yay. I love that. And so much, and I really wanted Lisa to tell this story because it really shows you that when you're open, so if you open up your creativity and you open up your intuition, that life can happen so much more in flow. And I think in the real estate world, we're so used to push and make it happen. And it's this very masculine hunter kind of industry. And there is a place for that. Ladies who are listening, please know, I understand there's a place for that.
Right.
But we can bring the feminine intuition and creativity into that so that when we're hunting based on signs that we've gotten from our intuition. We don't need to just go out and hunt blind. We don't have to. Men kind of have to do that. They don't have all the advantages we've got. Is that true or what? Right? Like we have all these resources that men don't really have access to. They've got access to different resources. Okay. But like for us, it's that intuition. It's the knowing, it's the getting the messages and knowing where to hunt, right? Where do you go? Where do you take your action? And then opening to, okay, I took that action. What are the results? And taking the messages from those results too. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, well, and you want to be where you're supposed to be. I mean, I don't want to be stuck in a place that is a big, gigantic mistake, especially if you're spending $1 million or something like that.
That's right.
Or even if you're spending less than that, that's a lot of hard-earned money. So, I mean, and I love the creativity piece. I mean, even when you're looking at houses, I don't know what Joe talked to you about, but it's just so cool to play with, possibility when you're looking at houses.
Oh,
When
yes.
you're selling a house. They're just, like you said, so many people, they walk in, they show it, they walk out. There's no joy. There's no fun. There are no smells in the house. There's no, there's no anything. I mean, I don't know about you, but I used to do seminars and I would take my energy work and I would go around the room and I would actually clear the energy. And so there are all kinds of really cool things when you are selling a house or when you're buying a house that you can actually do to get aligned.
Yeah. And when you are being creative, when you're in that creative space and that intuitive space, you're right. You walk in and you see something that nobody else will see. Right. Because every home has its own personality and you can marry your personality with that personality and what can it create? But again, that's a different way of looking at it. And you have to be coming from the filters of creativity in that case. Right. So
can I share something that just came forward?
Yes, please.
My intuition, I always like to bring it in. And that is also another thing. This sounds really probably wonky to some people, but I was playing with the idea of it and Joe and I did it with his estate. We actually, when you were saying that houses have their own personality, they really are alive. When you think about there are beings in that house, there's energy from all kinds of people in that house and things that happen in that house, good, bad, whatever. And when you think about it, if you go into a house, it's really great to talk to the house, to bless the house.
Yes.
If you're leaving a house, it's really great to actually pray over the house and thank the house for being an incredible place of learning and love and all those. I'm getting chills when I say it. So if somebody is listening, this is for you out there. I know it. And it's really part of the creative piece, like you said, the feminine, allowing these things to come through, because otherwise we miss all the beautiful possibilities and experiences, and you don't know what's going to happen. I have to tell you one more story. I know I keep telling stories, but when I lost my house to wildfire and we rebuilt in California, and there were people that were living next to us, and they were monsters. And anyway, every day I wanted them gone because they were horrible. They moved into the brand new house next to us. And so I literally took a mirror every day and I faced it in the direction of the house. And I just sent positive vibrations for that people. I would see those people getting in a U-Haul, leaving, and then I would see new people driving up, really cool, amazing people doing that. And I told a few people I was doing it. In a week, they left, they put the house up for sale, and somebody else that was amazing, I actually ended up working it for that person for a while, moved into the house. And nobody in the neighborhood believed it. They thought I was like a voodoo queen or something. This is the power of intention. This is the power of intuition. This is the power of energy. This is the power of creativity. It's not something negative. It's not voodoo. It's a living, this is all energy. Houses are energy.
Houses are energy.
And breathing and being. And you can intend what you want and you can change anything. Yeah. I had to share that. I don't know. All these things came through just for your audience today.
Woo-hoo. I love that. Yay. Yay. This conversation has been amazing, as they always are with you, Lisa. Thank you so much.
I love you. Thank
you. I love you too.
I love being here with you. I miss you.
Yeah. And we'll do more. I love that. So, Lisa, could you tell people how they can reach you?
Yeah. You can check out my website. It's lisawinston.com. You can also check out the Mindset Reset Show. That's mindsetresettv.com. And I'm on Instagram, Facebook, all over the place. So you can find me. Lisa Winston. I'm not the bodybuilder. I'm Lisa A. Winston. That's why I put the A in my name. This is sad.
So funny. But lisawinston.com. Yeah. Okay. And that, of course, will be in the show notes. So ladies, you can find Lisa. Lisa, this has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today.
I love you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. And ladies, thank you so much for joining Lisa and I for this portion of the show. You know how much I love having you here, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, remember, goals without action are just dreams. So get out there, take action, and create the life your heart deeply desires. I'll see you soon. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to find out more about how to become a blissful millionaire, go to blissfulinvestor.com. See you next time.